Perfection is a trap. It looks appealing on the surface. The idea of getting everything just right, of executing flawlessly, of achieving a perfect result, it seems like the right thing to aim for. But perfection is not only unrealistic, it is dangerous. It stops progress. It creates hesitation. It feeds into doubt and fear. And in the end, it keeps most people stuck exactly where they are. Because the truth is, perfection does not lead to success. Progress does. Most people never make progress because they are waiting for the perfect conditions. They tell themselves they will start when they feel ready. They convince themselves they need more time, more information, more certainty before they take action. But the reality is, those things are excuses. There is no perfect time. There is no perfect plan. There is no scenario where you will feel fully prepared. The people who succeed are not the ones who wait for perfection. They are the ones who move forward, even when things are messy, even when things are uncertain, even when they have no guarantee that it will work out. Perfection is an illusion. It sets a standard that no one can reach. And because of that, most people never even try. They sit on the sidelines, overthinking, doubting themselves, convinced that if they cannot do it perfectly, it is not worth doing at all. But progress does not require perfection. It requires movement. It requires effort. It requires a willingness to start where you are with what you have and figure it out as you go. And once you realize this, once you stop chasing perfection and start chasing progress, you unlock a level of freedom and momentum that most people never experience. The most successful people in the world are not the ones who got everything right the first time. They are the ones who started before they were ready. They are the ones who made mistakes, learned from them, adjusted, and kept going. They are the ones who showed up consistently, even when it was messy, even when it was imperfect. And because they focused on progress, not perfection, they built momentum. They stacked small wins. They got better, stronger, and more capable over time. And eventually, that progress led to mastery. Most people never reach mastery because they let the fear of imperfection stop them from starting. They want to avoid failure, so they avoid action. They want to get it right the first time, so they do not take the first step at all. But the truth is, failure is part of the process. Mistakes are necessary. Every setback, every wrong turn, every misstep, it is all feedback. It is all part of the process of getting better. And those who understand this, those who embrace the messy reality of progress, are the ones who ultimately rise to the top. Perfection is the enemy of momentum. Progress builds momentum, and momentum creates results. The moment you stop trying to be perfect and start focusing on consistent improvement, everything changes. Because success is not about getting it right the first time. It is about staying in motion, adjusting, learning, improving. And the more you focus on that process, the more unstoppable you become. Perfection is seductive. It tricks you into thinking that if you cannot do something perfectly, it is not worth doing at all. It convinces you that if you are not completely prepared, you should wait. It makes you believe that if you cannot guarantee a flawless result, you should hold back. But this mindset is the reason most people never make progress. They are so focused on avoiding mistakes, on getting everything right, on not looking foolish, that they never even start. And the longer they wait, the more their fear grows, the more they overthink, the more they convince themselves that they are not ready. And that hesitation kills momentum before it even begins. The truth is, progress happens in imperfect action. The people who rise to the top are not the ones who have perfect plans. They are the ones who are willing to take messy, imperfect action. They are the ones who understand that starting now, even if it is not perfect, is better than waiting indefinitely for the perfect moment that will never come. They know that success is not about flawless execution. It is about showing up consistently, learning from experience, and improving over time. Most people never reach this level because they let perfectionism create fear. They are so afraid of making a mistake, of looking bad, of failing publicly, that they stay stuck. They would rather stay comfortable than risk trying something new and getting it wrong. But progress requires discomfort. It requires failure. It requires putting yourself out there before you feel ready and being willing to look like a beginner. And that is hard because it means letting go of control. It means accepting that you might not get it right the first time. It means being okay with feeling awkward, uncertain, and inexperienced. But this is exactly what builds strength. Every mistake teaches you something. Every failure gives you feedback. Every wrong turn reveals what you need to adjust. And if you stay focused on progress, on learning, adjusting, and improving, you will keep getting better. You will build momentum. You will create results. Not because you were perfect, but because you refuse to stop. And the more you improve, the more confident you become. The more confident you become, the easier it is to keep moving forward. And eventually, that confidence becomes unshakable. This is why progress is more valuable than perfection. Perfection is fragile. It is easily broken by one mistake, one setback, one moment of uncertainty. But progress is resilient. It thrives on mistakes. It grows through setbacks. It strengthens in uncertainty. Perfection creates pressure. Progress creates momentum. And momentum is the real secret to success. Because once you have momentum, it becomes easier to keep going. The work becomes lighter. Your confidence increases. You stop second-guessing yourself. You stop hesitating. You just execute. Perfection, on the other hand, creates hesitation. It makes you overthink. It makes you doubt yourself. It keeps you in your head, analyzing every detail, questioning every decision. And the more you overthink, the less action you take. The less action you take, the more stagnant you become. And before you know it, weeks, months, even years pass. And you are in the exact same place because you were too busy trying to figure out the perfect plan instead of just getting started. And that is the harsh truth. Most people are stuck because they are too focused on perfection. They tell themselves they need more time, more preparation, more certainty. But those are all just forms of fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being good enough. And until you face that fear, until you decide that progress matters more than perfection, you will stay stuck. You will keep waiting. You will keep hesitating. And nothing will change. The people who succeed are not fearless. They are just willing to act despite fear. They know they will make mistakes. They know they will fail. They know they will have to adjust, pivot, and start over. But they know that the only way to learn is through experience. You cannot think your way to success. You cannot analyze your way to mastery. You have to do the work. And that means being willing to get it wrong sometimes. That means being okay with imperfection. That means understanding that mistakes are not setbacks. They are stepping stones. And once you shift your focus from perfection to progress, everything changes. You stop hesitating. You stop overthinking. You stop holding yourself back. You start moving forward, imperfectly, but consistently. You start building confidence, not because you're doing everything perfectly, but because you are proving to yourself that you can figure things out as you go. And that is real strength. That is real confidence, because once you know that you can handle mistakes, that you can recover from failure, that you can adjust and keep going, there is nothing left to fear. Perfectionism is rooted in fear. Progress is built on trust. Trust in yourself. Trust in the process. Trust that you have what it takes to figure things out along the way. Most people never develop this trust because they're waiting for proof that they can succeed before they start. But those who win do not wait for proof. They create it. They take action before they feel ready. They make decisions before they have all the answers. They trust that they will figure it out as they go. And because they keep moving, they always do. Progress creates proof. The more action you take, the more feedback you get. The more feedback you get, the faster you learn. The faster you learn, the better you become. And eventually the results start stacking up. What once felt hard becomes easy. What once seemed impossible becomes automatic. Not because you had the perfect plan, but because you stayed in motion. You stayed focused on progress, not perfection. And that focus changed everything. Perfection kills momentum. It convinces you that if you cannot execute perfectly, you should not execute at all. And this is why so many people stay stuck. They wait until they have the perfect plan, the perfect timing, the perfect circumstances. And because those things never align, they never take action. They sit in a cycle of overthinking, analyzing every detail, running through every possible scenario without ever making a single real move. But those who succeed, they do not wait for perfection. They start where they are with what they have, and they figure it out along the way. The truth is, you will never feel completely ready. You will never have all the answers. You will never have the perfect strategy from day one. And that is why progress matters more than perfection. Because you can sit around thinking about how to get it right for years. Or you can start now, make some mistakes, adjust, and figure it out faster than anyone else. That is why action is more valuable than planning. Most people think they need the perfect plan before they start. But those who succeed know that action creates clarity. Once you start moving, you learn what works and what does not. You get real feedback, you adjust, you improve. And that process of action, feedback and adjustment, leads to mastery faster than any amount of thinking or planning ever will. Perfectionism is not a standard. It is a defense mechanism. It is how people protect themselves from failure, from judgment, from discomfort. They tell themselves they are waiting for the right moment, that they need more time, that they are not ready yet. But what they are really doing is avoiding the possibility of getting it wrong. They are trying to protect their ego. They are trying to avoid the discomfort of looking like a beginner. But success requires vulnerability. It requires you to be okay with looking foolish, with getting it wrong, with figuring it out as you go. And most people are not willing to do that. That is why they stay stuck. Perfectionists avoid starting because they are trying to protect themselves from failure. But those who succeed know that failure is part of the process. They do not fear it, they embrace it. They know that every mistake is a stepping stone. Every setback is a lesson. Every wrong turn teaches them something valuable. And that mindset is why they keep making progress, while others are still standing still, waiting for things to feel right. The most successful people in the world are not the ones who never failed. They are the ones who failed the most. They just learned faster. They recovered quicker, and they kept moving. The problem with perfectionism is that it creates hesitation. And hesitation kills momentum. You cannot build confidence through hesitation. You build confidence through action. Confidence comes from proving to yourself that you can handle challenges, that you can figure things out, that you can recover from failure. And you cannot get that proof by sitting still. You have to get in the game. You have to take action, even when you are uncertain, even when you are uncomfortable, even when you are not fully prepared. This is where most people get stuck. They tell themselves they will feel more confident once they have more experience. But experience does not create confidence. Action does. Confidence is not built by knowing more. It's built by doing more. The more you take action, the more proof you create for yourself. The more proof you create, the more confident you feel. The more confident you feel, the easier it becomes to take even bigger action. And that cycle of action and confidence building is what creates unstoppable momentum. Perfectionism stops that cycle before it even starts. It creates doubt. It creates hesitation. It makes you question yourself. It makes you overthink. And the more you hesitate, the more your confidence erodes. The more your confidence erodes, the harder it becomes to take action. And eventually, you find yourself in a spiral of self-doubt and inaction. And the longer you stay stuck in that place, the harder it becomes to break free. But progress changes that. Progress creates momentum. Every time you take action, even if it is imperfect, you gain momentum. Even if you make a mistake, you learn something. Even if you fail, you build resilience. And the more you stay in motion, the easier it becomes to keep going. This is why those who succeed are not necessarily the most talented. They are the ones who stayed in motion the longest. They are the ones who kept moving forward when others stopped. They are the ones who refused to let perfectionism steal their momentum. This is why you must train yourself to stop chasing perfection and start chasing progress. Progress is not about doing it right. It is about doing it consistently. It is about taking action every day, even when you're uncertain. It is about showing up, even when you feel like you are not ready. It is about focusing on small wins instead of trying to get everything perfect on the first try. Most people get overwhelmed because they think they need to figure it all out at once. But those who succeed know that progress is built step by step, decision by decision, action by action. Success is not about making giant leaps. It is about stacking small wins. It is about building momentum one action at a time. And this is why progress beats perfection every single time. Perfection is fragile. One mistake can break it. One failure can ruin it. But progress is resilient. It is built on adaptability. It thrives on adjustment. It grows through setbacks. And because of that, progress is sustainable. Once you have momentum, once you have built a habit of showing up and taking action, you become unstoppable. And here's the secret. Progress is not linear. Some days you will move fast. Some days you will struggle. Some days you will feel like you are backtracking. But as long as you stay in motion, as long as you keep showing up, as long as you keep adjusting and improving, you are winning. The people who succeed are not the ones who never struggle. They are the ones who refuse to quit. They are the ones who keep going, even when it feels messy, even when it feels uncertain, even when they are doubting themselves. And because they keep going, they eventually figure it out. You do not have to be perfect to win. You just have to keep going. Keep showing up. Keep making progress. And if you do that long enough, you will reach a point where success becomes inevitable. Not because you had the perfect plan, but because you had the courage to keep moving forward, even when it was not perfect. Perfectionism creates pressure. Progress creates freedom. When you are focused on perfection, every action feels heavy. Every decision feels like life or death. Every move feels like it needs to be flawless. And because of that pressure, you hesitate. You second guess yourself. You freeze up. But when you shift your focus to progress, that pressure disappears. Suddenly you are free to make mistakes. You are free to experiment. You are free to take risks. Because you are no longer trying to get it right on the first try. You are just trying to get better. And that shift is what unlocks real growth. Perfection is rigid. It is fragile. It creates an environment where one mistake feels catastrophic. One wrong step feels like failure. And when you operate in that mindset, you start playing small. You stop taking risks. You avoid anything that feels uncertain because you are trying to protect yourself from failure. But progress is flexible. It is adaptable. When you focus on progress, Mistakes become part of the process. Setbacks become learning opportunities. Failure becomes feedback. And because of that, you become resilient. You stop fearing mistakes because you know they will make you stronger. You stop hesitating because you know you can adjust along the way. This is why those who succeed are not the ones who avoid mistakes. They are the ones who recover from them the fastest. They are not trying to be perfect. They are trying to get better. And that mindset shift makes all the difference. Because when you stop worrying about looking foolish, when you stop trying to control every detail, you free yourself to move faster. You take more action. You learn more quickly. And because of that, you grow at a pace that most people never reach. Progress is about building competence, not perfection. Competence comes from experience, and experience comes from action. You cannot think your way to competence. You cannot plan your way to mastery. You have to get in the game. You have to make some mistakes. You have to figure things out in real time. And the faster you are willing to make mistakes, the faster you build competence. The faster you build competence, the more confident you become. And the more confident you become, the easier it is to stay in motion. Most people never get to this point because they are stuck in analysis paralysis. They think they need to figure everything out before they start. They are so focused on getting it right that they never get started. But those who succeed know that starting messy is better than not starting at all. They know that the first draft will not be perfect, that the first attempt will have mistakes, that the first try will probably fail, but they do it anyway, because they know that action creates clarity, and clarity creates confidence, and confidence creates results. The people who reach the highest levels of success are not the ones who started perfectly. They are the ones who adjusted quickly. They are the ones who made mistakes and recovered. They are the ones who failed, learned, and kept going. They are the ones who stayed in motion even when things were messy. And because they kept moving, they built momentum. And momentum is what separates those who succeed from those who stay stuck. Because once you have momentum, once you have built the habit of taking action and adjusting quickly, success becomes inevitable. Momentum is one of the most powerful forces in life. When you have it, everything feels easier. Decisions become clearer. Execution becomes smoother. Confidence increases. But the only way to build momentum is through consistent action. And that is why perfectionism is so dangerous. It stops momentum before it even begins. Perfectionism creates hesitation. Hesitation kills momentum. And without momentum, you stay stuck in the same place. Progress is what builds momentum. Every small win adds up. Every time you show up, even when you are not sure if it will work, you build confidence. Every time you take action, even when you feel uncertain, you prove to yourself that you can handle it. And that proof builds momentum. The more momentum you have, the easier it becomes to keep going. And once you have that momentum, success becomes automatic. This is why small wins matter. Most people overlook small wins because they are focused on big results. They want massive success overnight. They want the breakthrough without the process. But those who succeed understand that progress happens in layers. Every small win is a brick in the foundation. Every day of showing up builds strength. Every step forward creates momentum. And eventually those small wins compound into something massive. But it starts with progress, not perfection. And this is where most people fail. They undervalue the process. They think that because they are not seeing massive results right away, their efforts are wasted. They think that because they are still struggling, they're not making progress. But progress is not always obvious. Sometimes it is happening beneath the surface. Sometimes the growth is internal. Sometimes the results are delayed. But if you keep showing up, if you stay focused on getting better instead of getting perfect, the results will eventually catch up. Perfectionism makes you focus on the outcome. Progress makes you focus on the process. Perfectionism creates pressure because you are constantly measuring yourself against the final goal. But progress creates freedom because you are measuring yourself against who you were yesterday. Progress is about doing better today than you did yesterday. It is about staying in motion. It is about adjusting and improving over time. And that shift in focus from outcome to process is what makes success sustainable. Perfectionism is all or nothing thinking. It tells you that if you cannot get it right, you should not even try. It convinces you that if you stumble, if you make a mistake, you have ruined everything. But progress allows for flexibility. It allows for adjustments. It allows for mistakes. Progress says if you fall, get back up. Progress says if you make a mistake, learn from it and keep going. Progress says as long as you are still moving forward, you are winning. This is why perfectionists burn out, while those who focus on progress thrive. Perfectionism creates stress. It creates internal pressure. It makes you feel like you are never doing enough, never good enough, never prepared enough. But progress creates momentum. It allows for flexibility. It allows for mistakes. It allows for you to learn and grow as you go. And because of that, progress is sustainable. It is something you can maintain for the long haul. Success is not about perfection. It is about consistency. It is about showing up even when you do not feel like it. It is about adjusting when things go wrong. It is about improving over time. It is about building momentum through small wins and stacking those wins until they become something massive. The people who succeed are not perfect. They are consistent. They are resilient. They stay in motion. And because they stay in motion, they eventually create unstoppable momentum. Perfection creates stress. Progress creates confidence. Perfection creates hesitation. Progress creates momentum. Perfection makes you afraid to act. Progress makes you excited to try. And once you shift your focus from trying to be perfect to simply trying to get better, everything changes. You stop hesitating. You stop overthinking. You start moving. You start learning. You start improving. And eventually you start winning. Not because you were perfect, but because you stayed in motion. Progress requires humility. It requires you to accept that you will not get it right the first time. It requires you to be okay with looking like a beginner. It requires you to embrace the fact that you will fail. You will stumble. You will make mistakes. And that is uncomfortable for most people. It is uncomfortable because we are taught to value being right over getting better. We are taught that mistakes are something to be avoided, not something to be embraced. But the people who succeed understand that mistakes are a necessary part of the process. They know that growth comes through failure, and that mindset frees them from the pressure of perfection. Most people resist this. They try to avoid the discomfort of being a beginner. They do not want to feel like they do not know what they are doing. They want to skip straight to the part where they are competent, where they are confident, where they feel in control. But that is not how progress works. If you want to get better, you have to be willing to struggle at first. You have to be willing to feel like a beginner. You have to accept that the early stages will be messy. And most people are not willing to go through that phase. They let the discomfort of starting poorly stop them from ever starting at all. But the people who rise to the top are the ones who are willing to look foolish at first. They are willing to be bad at something before they are good at it. They are willing to learn in real time, to figure things out as they go, to stumble publicly, to fail forward. And because of that willingness, they improve faster than everyone else. Because every mistake teaches them something. Every wrong turn gives them more clarity. Every imperfect action builds experience. And that experience is what leads to mastery. Perfectionists avoid this phase. They want to skip the messy part. They want to get it right immediately. And because of that, they never get anywhere. They never develop real skills because they avoid the discomfort of learning. They stay stuck in planning mode. They stay stuck in their heads. They stay stuck analyzing and overthinking. And while they are stuck, the people who are willing to look foolish are getting better, getting stronger, gaining experience. And eventually they pull so far ahead that the perfectionists cannot catch up. Progress requires you to lower your ego. It requires you to be okay with not knowing everything. It requires you to accept that you will need to ask for help, that you will need to learn from others, that you will need to take advice, try things out, adjust when it does not work, and keep going. But perfectionists struggle with this. Their ego gets in the way. They feel like asking for help makes them weak. They feel like admitting they made a mistake makes them look incompetent. But those who succeed know that learning is not weakness, it is strength. Asking for help is not a sign of incompetence. It is a sign of intelligence. Being willing to adjust when things are not working is not a flaw. It is a competitive advantage. This is why the people who succeed are always the ones who are willing to be students. They do not care about looking foolish. They do not care about being wrong. They care about getting better. They care about finding the best way to succeed, even if it means admitting that their current approach is not working. They are flexible. They are adaptable. They are focused on improvement, not perfection. And that adaptability gives them a massive advantage over everyone else. Perfectionism makes you fragile. If you are chasing perfection, one failure feels like the end of the world. One mistake feels like a catastrophe. One setback makes you question everything. But progress makes you resilient. Because if you're focused on progress, you know that setbacks are part of the process. You know that mistakes are not the end. They are stepping stones. You know that one failure does not define you. And because you know that, you bounce back faster. You recover more quickly. You stay in motion. This is why those who succeed have a high tolerance for failure. They do not take it personally. They do not see it as proof that they are not good enough. They see it as proof that they are trying, that they are stretching themselves, that they are moving in the right direction. And because they have that mindset, they are not afraid to take risks. They are not afraid to try new things. They are not afraid to make bold moves. And that willingness to take action without fear of failure is what separates them from everyone else. Perfectionism creates fear. Progress creates courage. When you are chasing perfection, you become afraid of making the wrong move. You become afraid of getting it wrong. You become afraid of looking bad. And that fear makes you hesitate. It makes you play small. It makes you avoid opportunities because you are scared that you might fail. But when you are focused on progress, you are not worried about getting it right. You are focused on getting better. That shift creates freedom. It creates courage. It makes you more willing to try, more willing to risk, more willing to stretch yourself. And here's the truth. The people who succeed are not the ones who play it safe. They are the ones who take risks. They are the ones who put themselves out there. They are the ones who take action, even when they are not sure how it will turn out. And because they are willing to act, they create opportunities that others miss. They create momentum while others are hesitating. They build experience while others are waiting. And because of that, they make progress faster. They learn more quickly. They become more capable, more confident, more resilient. Progress requires you to stop caring about what other people think. Most people never take action because they are worried about how they will look. They are worried about being judged. They are worried about what people will say if they fail. But the people who succeed have trained themselves to tune out that noise. They know that other people's opinions are irrelevant. They know that no one else is living their life. They know that the only thing that matters is whether they are getting better. And because they focus on progress, not other people's approval, they keep moving forward while everyone else stays stuck, paralyzed by fear. Perfectionists are focused on the outcome. Progress-focused people are focused on the process. Perfectionists want to look good. Progress-focused people want to get better. Perfectionists want immediate results. Progress-focused people are willing to wait. Perfectionists are scared to make a mistake. Progress-focused people are willing to fail. And that is why progress always wins in the end. Because perfectionism creates fragility, while progress creates strength. Perfectionism creates stress, while progress creates confidence. Perfectionism creates hesitation, while progress creates momentum. Once you train yourself to stop chasing perfection, you unlock a new level of freedom. You become more willing to experiment, more willing to try new things, more willing to risk failure. And because of that, you accelerate your growth. You make progress faster than everyone else, not because you are smarter or more talented, but because you are more willing to act, because you are not held back by fear, because you are not weighed down by the pressure of perfection. You are free to try, free to adjust, free to figure it out as you go. And that freedom is what creates success. Progress is about building a habit of execution. Most people never develop this habit because they are waiting for the perfect plan. They tell themselves they will take action when they have more time, when they feel ready, when they have more clarity. But those who succeed know that clarity comes through action, not before it. They know that the best way to figure out the right path is to start walking. They understand that momentum comes from movement, not from thinking about moving. And that is why they always stay in motion, even when they do not have all the answers, even when the plan is not perfect, even when the conditions are not ideal. Perfectionism stops this process before it even starts. It convinces you that you need to know exactly what you are doing before you take action. It makes you believe that you need more time, more information, more preparation. And while you are waiting for the perfect moment, the people who focus on progress are already making moves. They are already learning. They are already adjusting. They are already building momentum. And because they are moving while you are standing still, they pull further and further ahead. This is why the people who win in life are not the smartest. They are the ones who take action the fastest. They are not waiting for everything to be perfect. They are figuring it out in real time. And because of that, they learn faster. They improve faster. They grow faster. The gap between where they are and where they want to be closes more quickly, not because they had the best plan, but because they had the courage to act before they were ready. The truth is, success is not about perfection. It is about recovery. The people who succeed are not the ones who never make mistakes. They are the ones who recover the fastest. When they stumble, they do not dwell on it. When they make a mistake, they do not let it break their confidence. When they hit a setback, they do not lose momentum. They adjust, they refocus, and they keep going. They know that setbacks are not failures. They are part of the process. And because they have built the mental habit of recovering quickly, nothing can stop them for long. Perfectionists, on the other hand, are fragile. One mistake can knock them off course for weeks. One failure can make them question everything. One setback can cause them to stop altogether. Because they have tied their self-worth to the outcome instead of the process. Every mistake feels personal. Every setback feels like proof that they are not good enough. But those who focus on progress are immune to this. They know that the process matters more than the result. They know that as long as they are learning, adjusting, and improving, they are still winning. And that mindset makes them unstoppable. Progress is about consistency. It is not about one big effort. It is about small, repeated efforts over time. Most people think success is about doing something massive. They think they need to make a big move, take a big leap, have a breakthrough moment. But those who succeed know that success is built in the small moments. It is built through daily execution. It is built through stacking small wins over time. One workout does not get you in shape, but 1,000 small workouts over a year will. One phone call will not build a business, but 1,000 phone calls over time will. One decision will not change your life, but the habit of making good decisions consistently will. Perfectionists struggle with this because they are looking for shortcuts. They want to figure out the fastest, easiest way to get to the result. They are obsessed with efficiency. But success is not about speed. It is about direction. You can be moving fast, but if you are going in the wrong direction, you are still losing. But those who focus on progress are not focused on speed. They are focused on consistency. They know that as long as they are moving in the right direction, they will get there eventually. Even if it takes longer than expected, even if they face setbacks along the way. They trust the process because they are focused on the long game, not on instant results. The people who make the most progress are the ones who know how to simplify the process. Perfectionists overcomplicate things. They try to create the perfect system. They obsess over the details. They think they need the perfect strategy before they start. And that overthinking paralyzes them. But those who succeed know that progress is simple. Take action. Get feedback. Adjust. Repeat. That is it. No overthinking. No complicated strategies. Just simple, consistent action over time. Perfectionists waste time chasing the perfect plan. Progress-focused people make progress by doing the work. They are not worried about whether their strategy is perfect. They know that any strategy will work if they execute consistently. They know that the real adjustments happen in real time. You cannot fix a strategy that does not exist. You cannot adjust a plan that was never put into action. So they focus on action first. They know that the perfect plan is not something you discover. It is something you build through experience. And this is why those who focus on progress are always ahead of those who focus on perfection. The perfectionists are stuck at the starting line, trying to figure out the best way to run the race. But the progress-focused people are already halfway through the course. They might stumble. They might take a wrong turn, but they are moving. They are learning. They are adjusting. And because of that, they are getting better, faster. And that is why they win. Not because they had the perfect plan, but because they were willing to start without one. Progress requires you to stop trying to control everything. Perfectionists are obsessed with control. They want to know how everything will play out before they start. They want guarantees. They want certainty. But success does not work that way. There are no guarantees. You cannot control every outcome. You cannot predict every challenge. But you can control your effort. You can control your consistency. You can control how quickly you adjust when things go wrong. And those who focus on progress understand this. They are not trying to control the outcome. They are focused on controlling their input. They know that if they put in the work consistently, the results will follow. Perfectionists want guarantees. Progress-focused people want growth. Perfectionists need certainty before they start. Progress-focused people are willing to figure it out along the way. Perfectionists want the shortest possible path to success. Progress-focused people are willing to take the long road, if that is what it takes. Perfectionists crumble under pressure. Progress-focused people thrive under it. And that difference is why progress always wins in the long run. Success is not about one big breakthrough. It is about consistent effort over time. It is about showing up day after day when it is boring, when it is hard, when it is inconvenient. It is about executing even when you do not feel like it. It is about trusting that the work will pay off even when you cannot see the results yet. It is about refusing to quit when things get hard, because you know that as long as you are improving, as long as you are making progress, you are winning. This is why progress will always be more powerful than perfection. Perfection is fragile. Progress is resilient. Perfection makes you fearful. Progress makes you bold. Perfection makes you hesitate. Progress makes you act. Perfection makes you doubt yourself. Progress makes you confident. And once you train yourself to stop chasing perfection and start focusing on progress, you will unlock a level of freedom, strength, and momentum that most people never experience. Because you will know that success is not about getting it right the first time. It is about staying in motion long enough to figure it out. Perfection is a myth. Progress is the truth. Perfection keeps you stuck. Progress sets you free. The moment you stop trying to be perfect and start focusing on getting better, everything changes. You stop hesitating. You stop second-guessing yourself. You stop overthinking every decision. You just move. You take action. You adjust as you go. And that willingness to stay in motion, to embrace the process, to keep learning and improving, that is what separates those who succeed from those who stay stuck. Perfection is fragile. One mistake can ruin it. One setback can break it. But progress is durable. Progress can withstand failure. Progress can survive mistakes. Progress allows for setbacks because setbacks become part of the process. And once you understand this, you become unstoppable. Once you shift your focus from perfection to progress, you stop fearing mistakes. You stop worrying about getting it right the first time. You become more willing to try, more willing to experiment, more willing to stretch yourself. And that willingness creates momentum. That willingness creates growth. That willingness leads to success. And this is why the people who win in life are not perfect. They are consistent. They are resilient. They know how to recover from failure. They know how to adjust when things go wrong. They are not obsessed with looking good. They are obsessed with getting better. And that obsession with progress gives them an advantage that perfectionists will never have. It makes them adaptable. It makes them fearless. It makes them stronger. And because of that, they keep moving forward while everyone else stays stuck, waiting for the perfect moment that will never come. Progress creates confidence. Progress creates momentum. Progress creates strength. And once you stop chasing perfection and start focusing on consistent daily improvement, success becomes inevitable. Not because you will get it right every time, but because you have trained yourself to keep going no matter what. And that is the real secret. Success does not belong to those who never fail. It belongs to those who keep moving forward, who keep improving, who keep adjusting, who stay committed to progress, even when it is hard, even when it is messy, even when the results are not coming as fast as they want. Perfection is an illusion. Progress is real. Perfection is temporary. Progress is permanent. Perfection is fragile. Progress is strong. Perfection creates pressure. Progress creates freedom. And once you make the decision to stop chasing perfection and start chasing progress, you will unlock a level of success that most people will never reach. Because you will understand that success is not about doing it perfectly. It is about doing it consistently. And the people who succeed, they're not perfect. They are the ones who stayed in motion the longest. The ones who kept going, even when it was messy. The ones who understood that progress is better than perfection. Because progress always leads to success in the end.